How's it going, everyone? My name is buildnye, and I'm going to be running Jedi Knight Jedi Academy today, a legendary speed game in some circles of the internet. I have a great, wonderful commentator with me. How you doing, Covert Muffin?
I'm doing amazing build, and folks, you're in for a treat. If you've never seen the speed game, there are so many incredible tricks and such. And the category that we're running today as well, yes, it's any percent. We'll get into that as we get into the run. However, we're also running with a portion of the physics construct actually turned off, which is something known as velocity reduction on ground impact. Normally, when you land on the ground, you lose half your speed, unless you jump from higher to lower ground within a set range of heights. However, here, because we turned that off, we can literally jump anywhere and be able to maintain our speed, all the while building a ton of speed by strafe jumping, because this is a modified Quake 3 engine. So without further ado, builds, whenever you're ready to go, we can get started.
All right. Without all the way, y'all about to experience something crazy, awesome, and I can't wait to showcase you guys. Let's get it done in 3, 2, 1, and let's start.
Good luck, man. You're going to do great.
Thank you very much. And here we go.
Okay. Yeah, so here we're in Yavin 1B. So unlike Jedi Knight 2, the game before this, we actually do start with a lightsaber and with lightsaber throw as this initial ability. And then as we progress through, we are going to be getting more force powers. But here, just coming through, you can already see that build is building a bunch of speed by turning his camera to the left and to the right. When he does this, he's also holding W plus A and W plus D and then jumping over and over again. So if we just buffer our jump input, we'll jump on the frame that we don't land on the ground. But up here, we have 3 more enemies to kill, 2 stormtroopers, and then nice quick kill on the Acolyte, bringing us into the second mission. Now, entering Yavin 2, we get a list of primary force powers, which are going to include force speed, force pull, force push, force sense, but more importantly, force jump, which allows us to spend the blue meter in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen in order to spend force in order to be able to jump for higher, but almost more importantly for longer. Nice quick kill on the saber droid here, and then we're going to enter a cutscene, use force pull on this lever to be able to open the door, and then go through. As we go through the game as well, like if you play Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, you will remember that you get abilities like Force Lightning and stuff. In Academy, we also do get those abilities. However, the way it's structured in this game is a little bit different. So in this game, there's a grouping of story missions, followed by a grouping of side missions, and then followed by another grouping of story missions, so on and so forth, for 3 acts in total. During each of those side missions, we can actually spec a force point into an advanced force power of our choosing. So coming through here, build is going to be ending the mission, and then choosing to go to rail first, picking up Force Lightning 1, and then picking 3 weapons in order to be able to take into the mission. And so this menuing is also actually timed in the speedrun and is a very important part for a speedrunner. But here's a big trick. Nice, first try, let's go.
Yo, let's go.
Yeah, that was amazing, dude, nicely done. So in that section in particular, there's a giant invisible death plane. But here, this is just really showcasing off no VRGI as like a movement-based system as Bill picks up some safety health. But here's going to be a big chain. I'm just going to let you watch. Yep, nice so far.
Nice.
Very important to land where build is landing. Nicely done. Yeah, and so like this is Academy, right? So there's 2 aspects of this. We want to build a bunch of speed, but then thank goodness there's a checkpoint there. That would have been so funny if you had fallen off. But so building speed is important by strafe jumping, but then also maintaining that speed, okay? Because if we run into a wall, if we stay on the ground for too long, then we actually end up just going all the way back down to 0 speed or back down to base walking speed, which is capped at 250 units per second. And so as build is moving through these missions, as we pick up another Force Lightning level, you'll notice this white number and kind of close to the bottom in the center of the screen. But here, build is actually doing a really cool trick known as a cutscene enter by refreshing his graphic setting. And then he skipped a very specific portion into the cutscene in order to be able to come back and grab this part here before teleporting back. Enter the cutscene, very nicely done, and boom! So right at the end of the cutscene, it actually warps us to where we're supposed to be when we start the level, because normally you have to watch the entire cutscene or skip through it, and then end up at that spot. but because we entered it, it actually just teleported us to that spot anyway when the cutscene ended. So just grabbing that one part, which is the furthest part away from the ship, that allows us to be able to save having to do a strafe jump chain all the way back. So in this mission in particular, we can actually only carry one ship part until we turn it back in, and then we can go and collect the next part itself. So there's bunny ears, and then, beautiful chain there.
That was
absolutely
beautiful.
Awesome. Yeah, that was great. And so, like, routing in this level is, like, really particular in sort of the order and the fashion that we actually go for these parts. We go for this part last, not because it's, like, the most difficult to get or we do something to set it up, but literally the turn-in point is at the very back of the ship, right? So we want to collect the first 3 parts that are quicker to turn in order to, like, save that, like, 1 to 2 seconds otherwise, right? So, like, routing in this game has really been incredibly refined to incredibly high level. So let's talk a little bit more about side missions as we see some really cool movement. So here, in any percent, we actually only have to do 4 out of 5 side missions until we are able to be able to progress to the next set of story missions. But here's a really cool climb. These are very precise jumps.
That's the cleanest candy climb I had all day. Oh, come on.
Oh, you got popped out. Okay, so you just get to show off more cool things again.
Yes,
nice.
Exactly. Bam, easy.
Yo, let's go. Nicely done. So that is a lot more difficult than it looks. And actually the climb itself only saves about 30 seconds. Like one of my favorite aspects of our beginners tutorial is like, we're like, don't go for this when learning the game. It only saves like 30 seconds if you get it incredibly quickly. There, Bill just crouched in order to raise his hitbox, allowing us to actually spawn this one drone here, which we're going to use thermal detonators to animation clip through the wall to activate the droid. And then Bill is going to be getting a specific spot and then using force jump. Yep, that looks good. Yeah, there you go. And then crouching to raise his hitbox again to be able to get a little bit higher. And then pushing in the box is going to cause the droid to move forward, spawning the final 6 enemies of the level itself. So here, just 3 more to get. Oh, that one's running away. He's seeing Build absolutely electrocute all of their friends. And there he goes. So you'll notice there that Build was using Force Lightning level 3. So Force Lightning level 2 and 1 are incredibly underwhelming in this game, but Lightning 3, if you've never played this game casually, it is one of the most fun abilities in the entire game. It just absolutely nukes everything to orbit if it doesn't have a lightsaber. So we use Force Lightning level 3 in very specific arenas in order to be able to finish them incredibly fast. So while it does cost a lot of force, it is like very, very effective for being able to go through. Oh, the reverse door crouching. Nice attempt. That's a meme in the community. So there's a Vino boost. We haven't talked about slope boosting, but basically jumping into a forward-facing slope as he's going in is going to convert his vertical speed into horizontal speed, allowing us to move forward. Shout out to Vino for discovering that. And so here in Sour, we're going to have one more arena before we are able to progress into our first set of story missions. So as I mentioned, we actually only have to do 4 out of... he's moving. You may just want to take the elevator.
True.
Yeah. So their build was going for a 1-second time save, didn't quite get it. So just taking the elevator is a lot easier and a little bit, just a tiny bit slower. So there, moving forward is going to allow Chewie to open the door for us, and then jumping through, we're going to come into this final arena. So as I mentioned, we only have to do 4 out of the 5 side missions for any percent. So what mission do we drop? Well, it's actually kind of simple. It's the side mission that takes much, much significantly longer than all of the other 4 side missions overall. And so we're going to be skipping Tier 1 Fatal, and we're going to be heading into our first set of story missions after the tutorial levels, which is going to be Hoth 2. And we are going to be introducing vehicles about halfway through the mission. Because we have VRGI, or Velocity Reduction on Ground Impact, turned off, we can just do an absolutely beautiful jump chain there to get through. Okay, so coming up to this Tauntaun, we're going to introduce vehicle movement. So basically, while you're on a vehicle, you can also strafe jump with the vehicle. But also, if we activate the alternate fire on the vehicle, it gives us a speed boost. But here, Build is going for a glitch. They are going to be walking off this ledge with the Tauntaun. This is going to glitch out the vehicle. Okay, so now the Tauntaun has a lower deceleration value, so it slows down at a less rate. Then speed boosting up a slope and then strafe jumping around a visible wall allows us to skip 2/3 of the level overall. Nicely done, build. First try. Beautiful. All right. But upcoming here is going to be Hoth 3. And so Hoth 3 is actually very similar to Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast in terms of like what you might see in that speed game, which are going to be very, very tightly compact hallways with lots of enemies. So like getting through this level can be a little bit tricky, but because we have like thermal detonators, the Wookiee bowcaster, as well as force lightning, it's honestly not too bad to be able to move through the level. But what is really difficult is all these trimmings, right? You see these like archways in the hallways. And Build, it's like very easy for Build to lose all this speed by bonking his head in those. So Build is trying to land and start his jumps at really particular portions so that he can actually continue a jump for as far and as long as possible while still building speed, okay? Oh, yep. So like there, yeah, that Stormtrooper getting in his way, right?
Yep.
Hey, I'm like right there, right? Landing in that tiny little archway is so incredibly difficult. But here's Dictator Hold. You can get it as a backup there, but it, like the continuous chain is a little bit easier to get through.
Yep.
If you get it. Yeah. So not quite getting it, but it only saves like a second or two. I forget exactly how long. I think it's like 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I thought about it.
Something like that.
Yeah. So here, as we're coming to the end of the level, we are going to be taking on a boss fight, which is going to be Allura 1, who's going to be a recurring boss throughout this run. And then we are going to be entering our next set of side missions, which are going to go from 0 to 100 miles per hour incredibly quickly. So I'll do my best to try and explain everything that I can.
Figuratively
Okay, first
and
to note,
literally.
yep. Once we get into our next set of side missions, we are going to get an increase in all our primary force powers. Most importantly, once again, is force jump. Okay, so here's another vehicle level. This is going to be big. So building a lot of speed by turning, using the speed boost, and then using a side jaunt feature to lock the bike into an animation and reapply its velocity that it saves in the animation that we gain from turning, right? Then activating Force Rage to stop us from going to 0 health is going to allow us to have the bike collide with us. I think you got it. Yeah. All right. And we're able to get up the mountain. So why are we climbing the mountain, Captain Kirk? Well, it's because the end of the mission is actually incredibly close to the very start of the mission. So as long as we're able to get on this mountain like Bill just did expertly,
thank you very much.
We are actually able to just jump directly to the end of the level itself. So here, nice jump chain. And yeah, there you go. Okay. And then that allows us to be able to move on to the next mission. So here's Tier 2 Rogue, and you're going to show us something cool, right, Build?
Oh, yeah. If I can get just right. Just right.
Close.
There we go.
That looks
Easy.
good. Yeah, let's go. So this is why I love like no VRGI as a category versus sort of like the base game itself, is because it leads us to be able to do a lot of really creative chains, which are a lot more approachable than utilizing some other glitches that we know in the base game itself. So Bill, just like putting on a clinic so far with this performance. You're doing amazing, man. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to get to one of the most interesting parts of the run. Like, usually this is a long, very long. Let me grab a E11 real quick.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, that's Stormtrooper's good enough.
Yeah, so what Build is doing here is he's force pulling the Stormtrooper, which allows him to be able to start a new jump on the Stormtrooper midair. Nice, which extends the maximum height that he can jump. Because each force jump level caps exactly where you're able to jump. So every single time that Build actually starts a jump, that decides exactly how high he can go based on the level of force jump he has, right? So it just draws an invisible ceiling directly above his head. So if Bill just holds down the jump key, that he will just bonk his head into that visible ceiling.
I don't know if we're supposed to be here, Muffin.
I don't know. That looked completely normal to me. They just have glass roofs. That's it.
Alright.
All right, so coming into this boss fight, this is actually like one of three uses of sense we have in the run. So here, just using the E11 blaster rifle with Force Sense on gives us 100% accuracy. Oh, nice push. Okay, that was a little spooky.
A little bit.
But that allows us to be able to have 100% accuracy, and so we can just actually kill one of the actually more difficult boss fights in the normal playthrough of the video game. But here is Rancor. So Rancor is one of really fascinating Academy history. I'm not going to go into too many details, but basically the two side missions that were decided to be the fourth side mission to include have always been between Rancor and Wedge, and both of them are honestly pretty comparable until you get to like a very top level sort of run time, and then Rancor saves like 20-ish seconds or so, maybe even more at this point. But here, Build is going to be using thermal detonators to animation clip through this wall. And then there's Jimmy the Rancor. Shout out to Jim Raynor. And basically, we're going to have Jimmy look into a corner and then using Force Mind Trick so that he, to put him in a timeout. Because he's been naughty and eating the prisoners. And we do not want to sort of celebrate such bad behavior. But here, yep, nicely done. Using an animation clip and then turning in to be able to activate that switch. Facing the wall directly allows us to get a little bit deeper into the wall, depending on one of two animations that you can get when you throw the thermal detonator, based on how Jaden is standing on a slope. But here, Jaden is going to be trying to kill off very specific enemies without losing any more prisoners. Nicely done. Looks good.
That was such a good pattern, honestly.
Yeah, that was really good. That was solid. And then opening the door allows the prisoners to leave. And then we actually end up just killing that last prisoner. So really funny thing that Bill did earlier in the mission was usually if you kill off a number of allied players to Bill's character, who's also known as Jaden, then what ends up happening is the mission fails. However, when the original prisoners opened the initial door, they actually went to neutral team. So Build was able to kill 3 of them off incredibly quickly, and then killing off that last prisoner doesn't cause us to actually end up losing the mission. So that's a very, very cool trick, and just like showcases off how incredible this community is as a speedrun community. And everybody's super friendly and welcoming, so if you want to try picking up the game, go to speedrun.com/JKA, and we will shout out that link once again near the end of the run. But here we're probably on one of the most difficult levels of the entire run, which is known as Vajun 1. So Vajun 1 is our next set of story missions of 3 missions, and it's going to show off a skip over Cat Chasm, which is known as Suomi skip. So here Build is going to be actually going out of bounds because the textures on the walls are actually not the invisible walls themselves. They're drawn separately in this game itself by hand. So here Build is going to be landing on the invisible walls, which are incredibly narrow, incredibly tiny, and then one more jump. And he gets it first try. Let's go. That's so awesome. Oh, yeah, you went for Stukerless. Oh, what a boss. Yeah, you got it. Oh, you did. Turn to the left at the end, and you got it.
There we go. Bing.
Oh, no, that also worked. Nicely done. Third try. I'll take that. So here we picked up a weapon known as the Stuker Concussion Rifle, which actually gives us like a pushback effect to make the trick way easier. But one of the things I've coached Build on is that if you can do Vajun skip, which is the thing he just did, Stukerless, then it helps him learn turning a lot more.
Yep.
That was absolutely beautiful that you busted that out, Build. Whew,
oh,
okay.
It's a whole fiesta in here. Holy.
Oh, Kyle, the coup de grace! Get him, Kyle. So here, honestly, Vajun 2 is like the first time that we're able to breathe and just relax a little bit as we're going through the mission, because it is probably the least movement intensive level.
You know what? A little bit funny.
Oh, you're going for it? Okay. So here is a variation of a skip that we call Bill Doc Torn skip. Nicely done, Bill, doing the incredibly difficult method, which looks really cool. So major shout outs to Bildo. Thank you. It's a very influential skip. So thank you so much, Bildo. Really appreciate that. So here next, jumping through this laser before the laser fires. that laser doesn't start activating until we get close enough. It's not on a global cycle, so we can just hit that cycle every single time, which is really nice. Then coming up through here, we're just going to be pushing a few mirrors, and then heading into Vajun 3, which will be the final Tier 2 story mission before we head into our last set of 4 story missions, and then, our last set of 4 side missions in Tier 3, and then our last set of 4 story missions to end out the run. This has been a great run so far, Build. You're doing amazing, my friend.
I could be on... I feel like I'm on a decent pace there, honestly.
Yeah, you're doing great.
There we go. Easy.
So Vajun 3 is like probably one of the longer levels, in all honesty, in terms of overall missions that we end up doing. Just because there's not like a lot of sequence breaks that we can do, such as like in the Tier 3 story missions in particular. I think Tasker 2 is probably the longest one overall in terms of story missions.
True.
But in this mission, it's another, like, it's not very movement intensive. There's nothing really too terribly difficult. It's just really kind of like the lightsaber fight at the end. Oh, he drained you, dude. Oh, that's so...
Just a little
So just be careful with your pull cancels here, because you might run out of force. No, you're good, you're good. You're not going to run out of force. You're fine. It's only costing 5, yeah, that's right, because you're not targeting anything. Oh, yeah. He just blocked it with his lightsaber, that's okay. No, he's still alive. Yep. There you go.
Had a style on him a little bit.
So here is probably going to be the most difficult portion of the level, which is this lightsaber fight. And it's all simply because of this one enemy here. And the enemy AI just starts moving the moment Build swings his lightsaber, and we don't know what the enemy's going to do until they actually end up doing it. However, utilizing force speed to slow down time scale in the game allows us to be able to take down the enemy really fast. So nicely done from Builds. Then here, entering this cutscene, normally we have to take 2 phases in this fight, 2 to 3 phases. However, just entering the cutscene like allows us to just kill Rosh and end the mission instantaneously.
Oh.
Which is honestly like a massive thing. Yeah, that was close. That was close. But here's probably one of my favorite levels, which is Tier 3 Rift. It's going to showcase off one of the coolest jump chains. Just switch off the saber. You don't need the saber. Yeah, there you go. Yep, looks good. Yep, good. Yeah, nicely done. So utilizing Force Protect ends up allowing us to mitigate 80% of all damage. And so that includes fall damage. So just activating it like at a very specific portion where we start to take massive amounts of fall damage, we can just carry that directly all the way to the end of the mission. So we cut out like 90% of the mission just by doing one really difficult and one very long jump chain.
Guess I'm doing Biss
like,
next.
or you can break. Okay. Oh, okay. Biss. Yeah.
I hit Biss instead of Hevel, but it really doesn't matter since they're all side missions.
Yeah, and you already have Mind Trick anyway. If you want to Mind Trick the Rocket Trooper, you can just like skip back past Rocket Trooper as well if you want to. Cool. Okay. So Build coming into Biss. It's another level that looks very, very similar to like Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast in particular. And so once again, Build is going to be trying to work around all these things. Ooh, no. Okay.
Yikes.
I would Mind Trick the Rocket Trooper here.
True.
So Build is on a lot lower health than he wants to because he wants to take an elevator fall. There's a health kit back there too if you want it. Okay. So there, Build is going to Mind Trick a Rocket Trooper because we're going to be backtracking down an elevator shaft, which is going to be just over here in order to get to the final portion of the mission. And so Mind Tricking that Rocket Trooper stops them from waiting at the bottom of the elevator to shoot us in the face. Because as you imagine, falling down this elevator shaft causes us to take a bunch of fall damage. But here, Build is going to be killing off a list of TIE fighters, which we have names for, like, most of them. Oh, yep, okay. Okay, so there's Long John Silver in the back. Oh no, Long John Silver has the slowest rotation pattern, so if you miss Long John Silver, he takes a very long time to be able to get back into firing range. Okay, so here Build is going to be holding crouch in order to roll, which is another way that we have to mitigate fall damage. And now all Build has to do is finish off a list of 7 enemies, excuse me. So he's going to use rockets because they have a faster firing rate than the super concussion rifle, and then use force lightning to kill enemies in an AoE once he gets close enough to kill off the last 4. Got 2 of them, so he just finished off the last 2 with rockets as well. Okay, so tier 3 Hevel. Yeah. It is the most vertical level in the entire run. So this is going to showcase off a new form of force management. We're not really going to be using any force powers besides force jump. So what Build is going to be doing is trying to keep his force as high as possible by utilizing the Stuker concussion rifle to get back up, and which saves 5 force every single time that Build does. Then doing a very difficult jump chain, getting it first try. That is excellent, dude. That is really, really difficult.
It is.
So here is going to be Lightning Spire, because there's an enemy right there that uses Force Lightning. So if Build gets hit by Force Lightning... Oh, no. Force Lightning. Oh, okay. Goodbye.
Oh. It's a little slippery.
Yeah. Just a little bit. It's what happens in high altitude settings. There's just a little bit of frost on the floor there. I just completely lost my train of thought. That was so funny. Okay.
That was something that was called Force Sway, which, if you're less experienced in this game, that will be your worst nightmare in learning this game.
Yeah, so that includes like doing things like cartwheels off of walls, and what it does is it locks you in the animation. So you can't like strafe, you can't move side to side, you can't change your trajectory until you land back on the ground. It's so cursed. And it's definitely a run killer for a lot of newer runners in many different locations.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're experienced in this game, one bad Force Swag, and I guess you're going back to Yavin 1B.
Yep, which is the first level in the game, yeah. Mm-hmm. So here's Tier 3 Bounty. It's going to be the final side mission of the entire run, which is honestly probably one of the coolest movement levels in particular. I know Sajiki, who is a massive veteran of this game, very influential person in the community as well, has done a lot on this level in terms of like utilizing spin glitch and stuff like that. There's just some really beautiful jump chains like going through the entire thing. Here, Build is a little bit low on force.
Yep. The entire chain I did earlier was entirely only possible via no VRGI.
And so here's a pixel perfect hole that Build is going to try and land into. Gets in there. It's a big meme in the community because you can just like look how far Build would have to go in order to just get around it, right? So it's like, well, this is optimal, so we should go for it, right? It's like, yeah, okay. Sure, all right. Oh, I love speedrunning, dude. All right, so there's the 6th bomb out of 6, so all we have left to do is to fight off Boba Fett. Build is a little bit low on force, so probably just gonna wait for Boba Fett to come down to him.
Oh,
so
yep,
good.
That was optimal.
Nice, okay. All right, so here we're going to be going into, oh my goodness, our first story mission for Tier 3, which honestly is probably the coolest mission casually, and it's also the largest mission casually. However, shoutouts to the greatest Spider-Man of all time, T-Mac-G. Allows us to be able to climb up all the way to the end of the level. You don't need your lightsaber out. You have no VRGI on. Yep.
It's just to help move with muscle memory.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So when you have your lightsaber out, you actually do not regenerate force as you're force jumping. So like their Build didn't have enough force there. However, if we're holding a different weapon or we swing our lightsaber after we start a force jump, then that allows us to start regenerating force while we're force jumping through the air. Yep. Okay.
There we go. Easy.
There we go. Okay, nice crouch climb. So that actually skips a decent portion of the mission here on Tasper 2. So Tasper 2, as I was mentioning earlier, is probably one of the longer missions in the speedrun, and there's a lot to it in terms of like moving around. Like their Build jumping around that corner was really important. Otherwise, it drastically increases the probability that the enemy is going to utilize Force Lightning, which once again cancels out our Force jump. So that would be bad. But here, coming through the section, we're going to be trying to get through this conveyor belt section in a really particular fashion. Nicely done. And so if build was fast enough here going through that section, then they are going to be able to catch this cycle here, getting through that instant kill lane that was off because of the cycle of the conveyor belt there, and they are able to progress through to the end of the mission incredibly quickly. Yep, Force is looking good. Nice. Yep, Force is looking really good. So here, build is trying to use Force speed before Allura lands on the ground, which they did successfully, and that allows us to be able to action lock Allura with the lower timescale before Allura actually ends up activating Force speed, allowing us to kill her. But oh boy, okay, so here is core 1. Just a reminder, you may want to just like set up a hard save.
Yep.
Leading up to the trick before you start doing the backwalk. Cool. Okay. So here, build is going to be going for something known as Brindor. So this level is another level that is a lot longer than we make it look. So here, activating those 3 statues allows us to activate this elevator. But here, there are 2 pillars that we need to destroy in order to open the end door to the mission. So Bill throwing his lightsaber, and then he's going to be pulling it underground, and then deactivating at a really specific time after turning. Yeah, it looks like a good save. I think this should work. Just have to get it.
Yep.
And then deactivating the lightsaber will cause the hilt to continue to go forwards, because it's going to be following build until he deactivates it. And then if he bounces it just correctly at a correct angle, he's going to be able to destroy the pillars, respectively, and that'll open the end of the mission. This is an incredibly precise and incredibly difficult trick, and there's like half a dozen setups to be able to do this trick. Let me raise audio and I can tell. So you're hitting the roof. So the lightsaber is going too far before you're deactivating it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay, awesome. Nicely done.
That's one of the hardest tricks in the entire run, period.
Yeah. And it saves like less than 30 seconds, I think. It's like 27 or something like that. Oh, beautiful jump, Jane. Okay, so time is going to be...
Yo, I got the continuation.
Oh, the continuation! Let's go! That is so incredibly difficult. We don't have time to explain it because time is going to be coming up. 2 more boss fights, starting with Tavion 1, followed by Tavion 2. Or Kyle, excuse me. Yeah, because he went dark side.
Oh.
Yep, getting trolled by Kyle. And... get ready on time. Still getting trolled by Kyle. This is fine. Yep, still getting trolled by Kyle.
Time. Let's go. That was so good.
That was awesome. A sub 30 in a marathon setting. That is excellent.
RTA was 31:25. Well, with an underestimate.
Nice.
That was great.
Yeah,
Very
so...
nice. That was such an amazing run to watch.
Great, thank you so much. Quick outro. I'm Covert Muffin, twitch.tv/covert_muffin. If you're interested in learning the speed game, go to speedrun.com/JKA, all lowercase. And if you go to the guide section, we have one of the best beginner's tutorial in all of speedrunning, in my opinion. I watch it before every single one of my GDQ performances, every single time, without fail. Just absolutely incredible. The community is so incredibly welcoming. Join our Discord. We have a randomizer in the works as well for Jedi Knight Academy. Shout out to you, Posto. No pressure. And also, everybody in the Jedi Knight Dark Forces community is super welcoming. So if you want to try one of those other speed games, we're super integrated with those other communities. But Build, thank you so much for having me. And I will see you folks later for Escape from Yavin 4.
And this was Jedi Academy. You can follow me on YouTube at buildnye. Watch all my runs. I post a lot of Elite Force, maybe getting back into Jedi Academy runs as well. But thanks for having us. License Line, and we'll be back later in the evening for more Elite Force.
All right,
actually.
Thank you both so much. This was an incredible run. We are going to take a quick break while we get set up for the next.